Chris Linder looks for inspiration at the local Menards. His next film will change the very fate of the entire world. Will it be about sparkly light bulbs? Only Chris knows. This summer, Chris in the big picture.
Please keep doing this. Hello, how's it going?
Greetings.
How's your day going?
It's going well. It's better now.
It's better now that you got pizza.
Oh yeah. All right, you get $5 because it's the holiday.
Oh, you're awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really cool when we can like join forces and be like, dude, let's drink the liter of whiskey together.
Fucking drink, bro.
Let's fucking do it. I get this email from my professor and she's like, Chris, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but you weren't in class and everyone else chose to do their assignments and your presentation is due in 2 days for the class. Now, like,
I remember that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, are you filming this?
Yeah.
All right. So, okay. So, I had no idea what I was gonna do, other than the fact that it was gonna be on melodrama, because that's like that's like the one thing that I can actually do. And so it's like, okay, I am not prepared for this at all, and it got to the point where it was like the day before it was due. I am working at the equipment room, and I'm sitting at this computer or whatever, and my friend Heather comes, she's in the class as well, and she's here to like help me out. She's like my support at this point. And it's like, all right, Chris, what are we gonna do? What are you gonna do? Figure something out. So we talked about it, and I thought, okay, I can use the piano, because melodrama, a part of melodrama is signature music, and that's where there's like this dramatic music that's just overplayed underneath. It's like underscoring, for just the genre. Okay, so I have the piano. And so then as far as like the script goes and figuring out what I was going to say, I went to wikipedia.com, and that's a plug there.
Not .org.com.
Or .org, is it .org? Wikipedia, anyway.
I think it's .org.
It's .org, it is .org. Yeah, that's right, because they have to beg their users for money. Yeah,
They
that
do.
would explain that it's .org. So I took the article on there, and I copy and pasted it into Word, and I just added a few details here and there, kind of, changed a few things up, not a whole lot. And I printed it off into 7 pages, and I paragraphed it out, so I had 7 very distinct, like cue cards, right?
Mm-hmm.
Leaving the school, run into my professor on the way out. She said, Chris, did you get my email? And I said, yes. And she had this fear in her eyes, like, oh God, I don't know what it's like due tomorrow and everything. And I'm like, my countenance was positive and glowing. And I said, don't worry, I have something. I will have something, and it will be great. And suddenly I saw her just relax, and she's, oh, okay, well, good, great. So great, she's gone, I'm back in panic mode again, run to my car. I'm not entirely panicking because I have a plan, and that's like the key here, is like if you have a plan on what you're going to do, and your planning is based off of doing things that you know that you can execute on, then you're set. Then it just comes down to finding the time to actually do it. I race home, I set up my piano, set up a mic, set up the camera, I take a microphone stand and I use it, and I set the pole right next to the lens on the camera, and I tape my cue cards off of it, which are basically just printer paper, but whatever. And piano, cue cards, camera, microphone, and a little bit of style, and maybe a knack for a melodrama, and so basically then what you see here is the result. And I got a great response for it. She loved it. Everyone thought it was interesting, and yeah. And it met the time requirements. The requirements were 10 to 15 minutes, and I believe this was 10 minutes and 12 seconds, which I did announce to the class prior. I said, you don't even have to use your stopwatch. You can look right here. You go into the video preferences, right-click details, and bam, there it is. Time, length, 10 minutes, 12 seconds on this video that we're about to play. There you go.
It's good. good. It's like a brinkism. It's like in the category of brinkism, but it also desperation. So it's just like 10 minutes, 12 seconds. Like it's right on the brink, but here it is.
But I have to ask, I mean, what is art if not desperation?
True. True.
Corporate bullshit, there's that. Advertising. I do have
You are a kick ads guy.
a what?
You're a kick ads guy.
Kick ads. Is it AIDS? Or ass?
That was pretty entertaining, yeah.
Not over something. And there was a third, I forget what that was. Now anybody who's watching this doesn't have no clue what we're talking about.
No.
It's an inside joke, okay? Just deal with it.
It's all good, dudes. I'm bored, Mike. I don't know how much I can do with this. Unless you're like right here, then it's gonna be pretty sketchy.
So what are you planning on doing with this video?
I don't know.
Catching me in my moments of self-indulgent smoking cigarettes and drinking multiple alcohol. We have the early times, only the best in whiskey, the plastic bottle to prove that, and then we have the glass of wine that I've just been milking because, well, it's really like I had to squeeze the last drops out of that bag of wine to get this to happen. And then
Was it in a desperate motion? You're just like, come
I was like,
on!
oh, so desperate. Oh, come on, just a few more drops. That's what old men say. Something completely different, though. Oh God! Oh, and then we have the Sprite. Yes, of course. And then we have the beer. So I was taking a piss at a bar
I'm gonna open it
a
with
week and a
this.
half ago, and I'm standing there taking a piss. This old man enters the restroom and stands in the urinal beside me. And then he begins to talk about how when you get old, it's harder to piss. I am doing everything that I can to be respectful. He is speaking utter gibberish, and then he mentions his gray hair, and I say to him, but sir, you must understand that with gray hair comes wisdom. And it was like his countenance just accepted my words, and he really appreciated it. I mean, it was a bit probably a bit of encouragement to him as well. I mean, especially if you enter a restroom and the first thing that you do is begin to verbally express self-degradation to the young man standing beside you who has his penis out. You know that this man is not probably in the best place in his life. I mean, certainly when he was my age, he didn't imagine himself 40 years from then to be standing next to a young man in the restroom, pissing next to him and discussing how he has a hard time to make his pee-pee work in the bathroom. But that's just... Here we find ourselves, and this is what's happening. And so I simply tried to provide him with words of encouragement. And I particularly remember, can't recall what he said, but he smiled at me as I was pissing. He looked at me, and we were both pissing together, and his penis out and mine out as well. And we weren't looking down there. Of course, we were looking at each other's faces. But there is some sort of some subtle sense of homoeroticy as well, which at that point then I do have to wonder if perhaps he is a bit in the closet. It's really hard to say. Anytime an older gentleman stands next to me, pissing, and begins to engage in conversation beyond anything other than simply the weather. Well, even for that note, to make small talk while pissing is a bit strange. But I always immediately jump to a sort of conclusion that the man is in the closet. It was quite a night. Closets and pissing and age and youth and all of it wrapped up into one bit, and then it came to a close and I left the restroom and I met the gal that I was with, and we continued to play pinball. That just don't serve a purpose, and I'm choosing the lenses that allow me to accomplish my vision with less frustration. So when I pick up a camera, I mean, okay, so I shoot on a Sony A7S, whatever. I know the camera. I like it because I know that I can shoot in low light pretty fucking well. But like on my last shoot, oh my god, I can't even tell you. I had to fight so hard to get the picture to look the way that I wanted it to. The room was a fucking challenge, you know, and the way that we envisioned it from the beginning, I was going to shoot it from like, you know, through the door. Here's this gal sitting behind a piano, and she's practicing on her violin. I'm looking at the screen on the camera, right? And there's the piano there. And due to exposure levels, even with light kits in the room, you cannot fucking tell that it's a piano. It just looks like, because the piano's black, right? It just looks like half the fucking, like the bottom half of the frame is black, straight up. And you have, there's, like, you don't real, there's no way, just looking at the screen, there's no way to tell that that is a fucking piano. So suddenly, instead of having a piano in the room that establishes the fact that she's in a practice room practicing her music, instead, it just looks like there's some random ass black fucking object cutting off half the screen. And so, in projects where you don't have a ton of creative control and you're forced to sort of just kind of milk the moment and try to figure out how to find, so where you have to just like show up and figure out how to make something happen and you don't have a lot of time, this is where you want a zoom lens, because the zoom lens will allow you to choose between, you know, the 24, that 35, that 50, that 70. So you watch your framing, you play your zoom, right? You figure out what focal length is going to work for your composition. The intensity. The intensity. The intensity. The intensity. Roll that can.
It's rolling.
Is it rolling?
Yeah.
All right. By the way, Corey, there's like ash or something. There's something on the front element of your lens. Is that inside or outside?
It was outside.
Okay, cool. Oh, good for you. You got it on video. Oh, right. Oh my God, we've got it. We've got it. Mr. Journalist, we've got it. Now to run back to the newsroom and to cut the video so we can blare it on the air. We've got it. That's the thing about journalism. Where it's like all my personal fears and personal frustrations and struggles in life and my emotions and, you know, having gone through, I know that I must still be as depressed now as I was 10 years ago. However, I don't necessarily feel as depressed, and I think it's because I found outlets to help me cope with it.
Yeah.
And, you know, being on stage and just acting bizarre is an outlet. If you can imagine, this particular album that we are creating on the camera right now is not unlike Kurt Cobain's album, The Home Recordings Montage of Heck. Yoo-lee-hoo! 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 Oh my God. I'm realizing something right now. He must
So-
have been as drunk as I am right now. Next thing you know, you're packing all your gear up. That's shoestring budget commercial filmmaking. How you doing?